How are you feeling? It's such a beautiful day. Karibu sana. This is Woman Crush Wednesday, right? Today, as per usual, I am your amazing host, Nina Gikunda. It's beautiful to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Umeamkaje, how has your weekend been? How has your week started? How are you feeling? We're coming to the end of the month of July. You know, we're coming to, at least we are hoping that the cold will end a little bit. But how are you feeling? How has your month been so far? Do you feel achieved? Do you feel like you've hit your target for this month? Unaendeleaje? I'm so excited to be here. I'm so excited to host you this morning. Karibu sana once again. This is Woman Crush Wednesday. Rise today. We're also approaching the elections. How are you feeling? Are you anxious? Are you nervous? What are your thoughts? Unafilaje, unaendeleaje? What's going on through your mind? Talk to us on our social media platforms at KUTV Kenya on Facebook, KUTV_Kenya on Twitter, and at KUTV Kenya on Instagram. Tuongeleshe hapo, tuambie umeamkaje, unafilaje, siku inakupelekaje. Where are you going this early? Are you going to school? Are you going to work? Are you going to open your biashara? Are you dropping your kids off at school? Why are you up this early? What are you doing this morning? Today's show, we get to focus on the environment. Today, basically, everything we showcase here will be about the environment, how we deal with disaster management, how and what exactly it is we do to make our environment a better place. The COP27, which is the 27th United Nations Climate Change Conference, will be coming soon. That is on the 6th to the 18th of November. On this particular conference, we will get to hear about how the world needs to change how we approach disaster management. We have come to realize that we don't really have proper preparation when it comes to disaster management. Generally, everywhere, every part of the world, we are always caught off guard and we're not able to hold everything up properly, yeah? And this particular conference, that is the COP27, will be about how we process our disaster management, how well we are prepared for it, and the things we need to change and the things we need to do better in regards to saving lives and also taking care of the environment. We got to see how there was so much heat in the UK about a week ago. The forests went on fire. Everything was just, chaotic because of the high waves of heat. And it raised the question, what could be the problem? Could it be global warming? What exactly could have brought this kind of problem to the environment? And there's so much in regards to the environment that is happening right now that we need to do better as people, as an individual, as a human being, to the space where we cohabit, to the space where we belong. And that's why we will be having an environmentalist with us who goes by the name Javan Kevin Namema. He is an environmentalist. He will be here to give us some tips and some of the things he's noticed and how he intends to go about some of these things and some of the how he feels or how he would advise we as human beings to cohabit properly, to do things the right way. Is it how we dispose of our trash? Is it how we plant trees? Is it how we take care of the animals we have in the forest? So everywhere, just everything environment. And that will be the conversation for today. We also have Amit Banka, who is the CEO of We Naturalists. We will be having a Zoom meeting with him later on in the show. He will be coming to tell us his journey as the We Naturalists founder and CEO, why he started this company, what did he see in the environment that led him to want to make it a better place with whatever he is currently doing. So stay tuned. We have so much to learn in regards to taking care of the environment. But right before we get into all this, we will be coming back with the COVID updates and the traffic updates. Welcome back. I have the COVID numbers with me. Are you taking care of yourself? I will never tire to ask you if you're taking good care of yourself, whether you're sanitizing, whether you're washing your hands. I'll sound a little bit unrealistic, but whether you're maintaining social distance, whether you're taking care of yourself, and if you got the COVID vaccine, it's not late. Imagine you can still go get vaccinated, and if you did, you can still go get a booster. A couple of weeks ago, we had some specialists here and they advised that it's important for you to get a booster to get your immune system stronger. So that would be a good point to consider. And our COVID numbers for today is at the 26th of July. That was yesterday. We have 50 new cases of a sample size of 1,869, which gives a positivity rate of 2.7%, 110 recoveries, 2 recorded deaths. This is cumulative test is 3,812,509. Total confirmed cases are 337,389, and total recoveries are 331,020, and cumulative fatalities all through have been 5,672. Those are the COVID numbers for today, which have me wondering, what are your feelings in regards to us approaching the elections? As we are approaching the elections, do you feel like we are prepared to go make long queues, mingle with different people from different areas who've been to other places? Do you feel like you're prepared? Do you feel like you're ready to take that risk and go vote in regard, despite the fact that there's COVID and all that? And if you are considering it, please, as we go to vote, wear your mask, carry a sanitizer. I'll not tell you to maintain social distance. I don't know how that's supposed to work, but take good care of yourself. We will be coming back with traffic updates. Into our news updates for today. We get our news updates from we get our traffic updates from @Mathri on Twitter. So if you have any information in regards to the roads where you are, the road you're using, the roads around you, or any information in regards to any roads, information that you feel would help a friend or help a neighbor or help just anyone, feel free to tag @KUTV_Kenya on Twitter and @Mathri as well on Twitter. There's an accident along Thika Road that is affecting both sides. There's an accident involving a Zuri bus and a Manmo Sacco bus at the NYS Drift as you head on towards Thika on the major superhighway outer lane. There is traffic police on site and it is causing a lot of traffic. So if you are on Thika Road, on both sides, whether you're going to town or going towards Thika, the roads are seeming tricky because of that accident. And speaking of accidents, there have been a lot of accidents happening in the past few days, which gives a call to action as a driver. Are you checking your car? Are you taking your car for service? It's important for us to stop driving unroadworthy vehicles, because citing a little incident, the incident that happened over the weekend, not over the weekend, a day or two ago at the Nithi Bridge, whereby it is said that the driver was aware that the bus had faulty brakes. So even as he was starting the journey, he started the journey on a bus with faulty brakes, which begs the question, why would you be driving a vehicle that is unroadworthy? As a driver, it's important for you to drive a vehicle that is in good condition, take your vehicle for service, follow all the road rules, all the government regulations in regards to the road. At the end of the day, we all say that you are the only sane driver on the road. So follow the rules, do not drive unroadworthy vehicles. Be safe, take care, be sane as you're driving. Do everything that you're supposed to do right when you're on the road to avoid losing lives and causing accidents. Yeah, be careful. Be careful as a driver everywhere, all-roundedly. Be a sane driver in everything that you do. I think that's just it. There's one here. There's cows causing huge traffic on Outer Ring Road near Taj Mahal. So if you're on that road, be careful. Kiambu Road is also a little bit tricky right now if you're getting into Kiambu Road. You're being advised to use Muthaiga service lane when coming from town. Yeah, I think that's it for the traffic updates for today. I will be coming back with the news updates shortly. Welcome back. Earlier on, I gave you the conversation that we'll be having today. Today, we're basically looking at our environment, how we take care of our environment, the things we need to do differently, the things we need to change, how we need to be prepared for disasters, how we are working on disaster management as individuals and as human beings. And then there's a new innovation based on the standing and operating procedure that have been looking at dams and sustainable production through new times and agribusinesses. This innovation tends to offer lasting solutions to global problems, empowering our rural areas, which is key as they are production epicenters. Sustainable consumption in urban areas should be looked into. Reducing good waste from the storage to the plates are mechanisms and steps that create resilience. The world is in loggerheads with the real climate-prone communities, more so women and children who are mostly vulnerable. It's time we come with a government that is willing to be part and parcel of the conservation of the universe. This should be through the empowerment of the green economy and the sustainable waste management. This particular part is us talking about the things we need to do better, how we need to store and take care of our waste as individuals, how we need to take care of our dams, how we need to take care of agriculture, and how we need to mostly put a little bit more focus in the rural areas, since without the rural areas, we wouldn't be getting food and ways to sustain ourselves in the urban areas. So that is part and parcel of the conversation that we will be having today with one Mr. Javan Namema, who is an environmentalist, and also Mr. Dennis Kimani, who is the founder of the Youth Green Society. So stay tuned. But right before we get into it, we'll be coming back with the news updates. And in into our news updates for today, President Uhuru Kenyatta has commended the National Fund for the Disabled of Kenya for improving the lives of persons with disabilities. He noted that NFDK has worked tirelessly by ensuring that the needs of persons with disabilities are catered for, both in government and in the society.
President Uhuru Kenyatta is also the patron of the National Fund for the Disabled of Kenya, NFDK, today in a meeting with members of the Board of Trustees of NFDK, has commended NFDK for improving the lives of persons with disability at State House, Nairobi. Kenyatta noted that members of the NFDK's Board of Trustees, led by their chairperson, Mrs. Christina Pratt, have worked tirelessly in ensuring that the needs of the persons with disabilities are catered for both in government and in the society. The president cited the mainstreaming of the special education needs of persons with disabilities in the country's education policy as one of the achievements of the NFDK, saying that move has enabled more persons with disabilities to excel in their education. During the meeting, the National Fund for the Disabled of Kenya Board of Trustees presented to the President their progress report for the last 5 years. Pratt pointed out that through President Kenyatta's patronage, the fund has increased its annual donation to persons with disabilities from 14 million shillings to 350 million shillings. NFDK thanked the president for creating an environment where persons with disabilities access the opportunities to do business with the government through the Access to Government Procurement Opportunities AGPO policy. Caroline Kimwele, KUTV.
Moving on, students from various universities across the country are involved in a campaign dubbed Nitatenda Wajibu Wangu. The campaign's targets to not only motivate the young decision makers to take part in the election exercise, but also to sidestep the calls of forces that seek to use them in causing havoc.
Scenes such as these have marred Kenya's past elections, the worst in 2007-2008, when over 1,000 people were killed. Kenya has a history of election-related violence and a lack of accountability for human rights abuse, according to Human Rights Watch. A survey by a Government Unity Commission, Kenya National Cohesion and Integration Commission, shows 6 counties are likely to experience electoral violence. As the next election approaches on August 9th, university students are teaming up to campaign against election violence among their peers through a new peace association.
The same students who have been trained as master campus trainers on voter education are the same people who are leading in terms of championing for peace. So just recently we launched the 47 days of peace, and this one we launched it specifically when we had remained 47 days to the general election. So on a daily basis, we are having peace work.
And listen, as I raise my voice of hope for peace.
Peace advocates say young people are most vulnerable to exploitation and manipulation to engage in violence, according to Global Peace Foundation. That is especially because so many are unemployed. National government figures show that some 5 million Kenyan youth are out of work.
They are available for recruitment into extremism, and politicians, mainly target these young people because they're the people who, can be misused for as little as 100 shillings.
100 shillings is an equivalent to nearly $1.50 in Kenya. In a peace drive dubbed Nitatenda Wajibu Wangu, meaning I'll do my part in Swahili, students from 75 universities and colleges are committing to casting their vote and encouraging others to do so, including on social media.
If you decide not to go and vote, if you have a vote, you're trying to tell someone else to govern your life and you have given it to them. So the bigger picture is, if also you participate in causing violence and not voting, and we don't have classes, we don't have schools, our careers stop, you're going to be affected in one way or another.
The August poll will be Kenya's third election under its new constitution that was promulgated in 2010, and the nationwide Youth Peace Initiative members hope for a calm transition.
I'd like to applaud to these young people trying to campaign and vote for peace. It's everyone's voice. It's the current tune. It's the song we are all singing. So peace, peace, peace. At the end of the day, remember this leader you're going to choose is going to go back to his home, and we'll be left out here fighting and cleaning up the mess. So we choose peace from the beginning to the end. Let's be peace ambassadors. Wherever you are, be a peace ambassador. And in the next story, before COVID-19, they were just like any other internet users, but now they have made over 50 appearances on television shows and interviews to talk about their talent and works. Born and raised in Kenya's Huruma slums, these kids are both helping their families and making a name for themselves. We're talking about the H-Town kids, who are an online sensation, putting a smile on faces all across social media platforms. Our reporter Joyce Masharia visited them and filed the following bits.
It is Saturday morning and we find our way to the popular Nairobi's Huruma slum, an area figuratively associated with poor standards of living, with many living on below $1 a day, despite the fact that the neighborhood has for a long time been perceived as one of the criminal hubs in Nairobi County. Youth in Huruma have taken to change the image of the area through talent.
The onset, Your Excellency, hii ni ile nilisoma kule, hiyo ingine sawa. Hiyo ingine nilisahau kwa gari ya Minister for Health, lakini ni sawa.
My interest in Huruma was sparked by a group of kids who became an online sensation during the incursion of the COVID-19 pandemic. They are famously known as the H-Town kids. You may have come across some of their work on social media, mimicking political figures, news personalities, and celebrities. They have attracted the attention of international celebrities, such as Alvaro Mote, who plays the professor in the famous Netflix series La Casa de Papel or Money Heist.
For Nairobi.
Huruma Town Kids is a group of differently talented kids from Huruma Estate that started in 2019, its purpose being nurturing of talents. The group started with few kids and now they are 23 in number. It has helped in keeping the kids busy and away from the fangs of crime associated with the area.
So at first it was just ile tu kujibamba. But the more tuna get watu na to pay attention, ndio sasa tukaanza kufanya tusemeka hizi matrailers.
It's Kenya's most ambitious conservation effort.
We didn't get the tourists to help us to...
Through media interviews, the H-Town kids have gained traction, attracting people in the film industry, many wanting to cast some of them in their production through appearances on talk shows, TV interviews, and adverts.
Don't be fooled.
Some of them have been able to help their families meet the cost of school fees and other needs that before their fame was a luxury. Being school-going kids, it is a challenge for them balancing work and school. They are forced at times to be away from school with permission to make a living. Most of the time, such ascent is being denied by teachers.
From Saturday, hapo ndio sasa siupatana. Hapo ndio una rehearse, ita tunashoot hiyo Saturday, ama tuseme hiyo wiki tuseme ni ya kurehearse. Hiyo wiki nyingine ndio ibaki. Ita salia kuna holiday.
Baba Mayday.
This is Intana Njeri, the most familiar face in the group. She has starred in many of their productions and dance videos. We got a chance to see her prep for an upcoming dance video with her crew. She says they have a challenge in sourcing for costumes to do a production, forcing them to improvise, but as they say, necessity is the mother of invention.
Kuna clip mingi zenye tulifanya.
which nazipendanga. Then kuna hii ad yenye tulifanya hii ya uwezi tucheza, hiyo pia mimi naipendanga. Na pia ya DJ Khalid. Singine unataka kumimiku mtu, lakini hiyo costume ni hard kutafuta, lakini lazima tu improvise.
Maratona this, maratona that. I thank God for my friends, they got my back.
Davil Mwaura, the eldest in a family of 2, also a familiar face in the group, gives a glimpse of their work before and during a production.
Saturday na Sunday unakuja huko kwa, yani huko kwa hivi pale tunakujanga, tuna meet tu, unaangalia vitu unafai kushika ushike, na unapata hiyo siku yote full, alafu mnaambiwa kesho mna shoot.
Being a lover of their work, I asked if they could include me in one of their videos. Today they are prepping for a dance video shoot. Despite being what many might call a 2 left feet dancer, I managed to throw some moves. Both Itana and Davil say that this has helped them live life differently and aspire to be great actors, recognized in the global stage, drawing inspiration of Oscar award winner Rupita Nyong'o and Eddie Gadegi, who are putting Kenya in the global map of the big screen.
Kubwa nataka kuwa actor deadly huku Kenya. Tunaenda tuna represent Kenya vizuri, tunapiga show kali.
Mtu ajue talent yake, utry kufanya kitu yenye uko capable of.
The kids are a true testament that talent pays. Many more are encouraged to follow their dream. The world will continue inching towards being a better place.
Huruma Estate is mostly associated with crime, but the existence of Huruma Town kids has changed the perception through their talents. The kids aspire to be great artists within and beyond the country. Joyce Masharia, KUTV.
It's beautiful to see these young children be able to explore their talents, earn a living from it, pay their school fees, be able to uphold their families from what they're doing. And kudos to their parents for supporting them. Nowadays, times are changing whereby we have our parents supporting their children from a young age. And as they grow up, at least they'll be at a point whereby they know what they're good at. They have already recognized or put a finger on exactly what it is they're good at. So moving forward, as they grow up, as they go to campus, they'll have an easier time. They'll have been able to somehow identify their space in the game, identify their space in the industry. And it's really good. Kudos to H-Town. Can't wait to see where you'll be in the next 5 years. You're doing a good job. And into the next story, record drought in the Horn of Africa has tens of millions of people facing malnutrition and hunger across Ethiopia, Somalia, and Kenya's northern frontier. An incline in food prices has left aid groups struggling to help affected communities as they head toward a failed rainy season for a 5th straight year.
Even from a distance, the signs of distress are visible. Moving closer, the desperate situation becomes more vivid. On a World Vision organized trip for journalists, VOA witnessed the devastating impact of the ongoing drought in Kenya's northern frontier. With livelihoods diminished, families here have been left to survive on inedible berries known as edung in Turkana.
The drought came and killed all our livestock that we used to depend on. Now we have been left with nothing. All we can eat are these wild berries.
Local Kimat must cook the berries for 3 days to make them edible and reduce their harm to the body. Residents say it gives the children diarrhea, but it helps them survive. The mother provides for her 5 young children because her husband is sick and unable to help. Epakan Ekiru, a 19-year-old mother of 2, lives a few steps away. Her husband left 2 years ago with the herd to look for pasture and water. She's afraid the wild berries will run out.
For now, we're eating these wild berries. If they run out, we'll die. There will be nothing else to eat.
Kenya declared drought a national disaster in September 2021, with nearly 3.5 million people at risk of acute hunger and in need of humanitarian assistance. That includes more than half of the population in Marsabit County. According to government figures, children and women are the most affected. Officials say sometimes the government's food relief and cash transfers to the most vulnerable are not enough.
I've had cases where people come to the offices, they stay put, even if there is no relief food from the government. You have to go back into your pocket and give them something so that they go back home and buy something to eat.
The soaring food prices resulting from Russia's invasion of Ukraine have affected humanitarian aid operations, making the situation even worse.
In the community we visited, ideally they should be getting 100% of their rations. But by now, because there are pipeline breaks of commodities, because of the shortages created, we could only give them 55% of their food.
For residents of Purapul village, the nearest health center is over 60 kilometers away. Twice a month, the aid group World Vision helps severely malnourished children and pregnant women. Officials say many can no longer afford to make the trip themselves, as the drought has claimed their livestock, their only source of income. Drought is not new to this region, but experts say as climate change accelerates the intensity and frequency of drought, and events like Russia's war in Ukraine worsen the problem, many worry the hunger crisis in East Africa will be forgotten.
This is part of our conversation for today. We get to see the difference in climate change and the fact that this part of the world has not been receiving rainfall or proper rainfall in a span of about 5 years, which is quite alarming. And in the conversation for today, we get to look at how well prepared as individuals we are in regards to proper disaster management. So stay tuned as we will look at this and much more in regards to the environment. Let's get into the next story. After inclusion of the Democratic Republic of Congo to the East African community, Kenyans are now being challenged to tap into DRC's huge market. East African Community Secretary says this would open up opportunities for new jobs, offering markets for local produce and consequently fighting poverty in the country.
The East African Community EAC by becoming innovative and globally competitive. EAC Principal Secretary KV Tesai says industrialists should target to increase their production capacities by doing value addition so as to be able to meet the demand of the 300 million EAC population. Speaking during a tour at Capwell Industries in Thika, the PS says the six-nation EAC market has become huge, opening up new opportunities for manufacturers to trade. He challenged the manufacturers to take advantage of the trade avenues to match exporting giants, given that the new bloc is the fourth largest in the world after India, China and USA population-wise.
We're also looking at various other key instrumental features, which include the review of the Common Market Protocol. This will address many of the challenges that private sector to date has witnessed by way of rules of origin.
The PS opined on the need to review the Common Market Protocol to address the challenges that the private sector has witnessed in areas of rules of origin, non-tariff barriers, and the ecosystem of manufacturing. Kenya Association of Manufacturers Chairman Rajan Shah also called on manufacturers to become competitive, look for markets abroad, improve efficiencies, and invest in technology.
We have about 6,000 tariff lines of items that can actually be exported duty-free, quota-free into the US. We only do a handful of about less than 10. So there is a lot of opportunity there.
The establishment of the East African Community Market to DRC is a creative opportunity for traders to become innovative and globally competitive. Imbida Masi, KUTV.
Thank you so much. This is quite an interesting conversation about the inclusion of the DRC to the East African community. We cannot wait to see what they have in store for us as a country and how we will be able to boost each other's economy moving forward with the merger that they just had with us as the East African community. Moving forward, among the many sectors that women are urging a space for themselves in the country is real estate. However, the fraction holds a wide girth for growth, with 14% of women accommodated in the sector. Yesterday, we got a look at the journey of 3 phenomenal women who are proving that gender growth among players in the male-dominated sphere is attainable.
The estate market has been booming for a decade, with more commercial and residential projects going up in urban centers. But despite the boom, women still face myriad of challenges trying to become property owners and builders.
I've sat in on some international development meetings where even just 2 weeks ago were people that are international donors and international funders talking about affordable housing, and everyone at that table were men. Who's at the table talking about where $8 billion are going to go are all men. Now that's unacceptable.
Despite the challenges, more women are venturing into real estate development and finding success. Leah Wamboi quit her beverage selling business to become a real estate developer. Today, she has built over 200 homes in the Nairobi metropolitan area, though she and other women still face multiple challenges in this male-dominated business.
So you work with a contractor who feels that they should not expect to hear things from a woman, or there is a particular way that we've been doing things and this is how we do things. They think that you probably don't know because you're a woman.
Having built one of the leading construction materials manufacturing companies in Kenya over the past 2 decades, architect Winnie Ngumi understands too well the obstacles women face.
Even today, when I represent the company, say we are seeking a financial facility, we are trying to get a loan, I do face bias. It is almost as if I should have a man with me in the room when I'm negotiating for credit lines for the business.
A networking organization called Women in Real Estate, or WIRE, is working to help.
We have a mentorship program that we take professionals to walk with them over that journey and to just assure them, to be there to answer any questions that they might have, even addressing sexual harassment issues that they experience, and to help them to be confident that they can speak out about these issues and that that space is theirs also.
Industry players say it will take time to come out of deeply rooted cultural and traditional beliefs in Kenya and across Africa that make it harder for women to thrive in many sectors. But advocates say women like Robin Emerson, Leah Wamboi, and Winnie Ngumi show that change is coming.
We have come to the end of the news bulletin for this morning, but stay tuned, here at KUTV for subsequent bulletins in through the day. Every single update you will get from here. We will be coming back with Mr. Amit Banka, the CEO and founder of Is We Naturalists. Mr. Amit is an ardent nature lover, a wilderness explorer, and a bird photographer, and he runs a company, like I said, goes by the name Is We Naturalists. He will be coming to tell us about his journey as a CEO, why he started this company, and what he's been able to do for the environment, and what led him or what pushed him to wanting to see the environment become a better place. So we will be coming back after this short break.
Welcome to Children's Corner. Welcome to
Children's Corner.
Children's
Corner.
Technology is infiltrating every sector of life, this by giving you convenience as well as cutting down on time wastage. Today we talk about Rebecca.
As we spoke to more people about the idea that we had, so this is basically word of mouth. We're speaking to people about what we're thinking of doing, you know, not necessarily saying we're doing this, it's just asking like, what challenges do you have when you're going to a salon or looking for a salon?
The client, you sitting back at home, having the stylist coming to your home, sitting watching your TV, doing your work at home. I think it's more convenient and you enjoy being at your comfortable home.
Things you know are right. Nothing worth the gain you attain by sudden flood. Don't you know that I still care for you? We flip-flop, got me needing more and more of you. Gonna be the one to catch you.
Far East, welcome to the empire. Far East, we call it find true love. You will see what your love has done for me.
Difficult because them ignorant and I one alone I get I go live another life. Telling them again but I know in a device. Life no get chance too often. Put out some of the sadness and invest in a laughing. Time you take a stress, lifetime passing. Tell them so you love them for yourself.
Welcome back. I have Mr. Amit Banka prepared for us as he's ready to tell us about his journey as the founder and the CEO of We Naturalists. So stay tuned. We have a lot prepared for you. Mr. Amit?
Hello, Nina.
Hi, how are you?
Okay. Thank you so much for being for taking this time out. Thank you, KU, for this.
You're very welcome. How are you feeling this morning?
Very well, Nina. Very good morning to you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's good to see you this morning.
Thank you.
Mr. Amit, a lot of people are wondering, what is We Naturalists? Help us understand what is We Naturalists.
So, We Naturalist is a very simple platform. It's an ecosystem. It's a digital ecosystem where we consolidate climate action, where we bring people of nature together, where they can collaborate, they can connect with various people, they can find opportunities to excel in nature, whether it is jobs, assignments, events, trainings, fundraise to that extent. They can fulfill their dreams or passions with respect to nature. In addition to that, a lot of organizations are finding ways of using We Naturalists to find a lot of digital solutions for their work. So overall, if I really have to see it, it's a digital ecosystem which helps professionals and organizations to help them work better in this natural world. So this is what We Naturalists is all about. It's a global platform where we reach more than 300,000 members over more than 50 to 100 countries. It's a large ecosystem where we intend each and every individual professional nature lover to participate and empower this entire nature ecosystem to ensure that each one of us are doing our part in bettering this particular place or the planet for our future generations.
Thank you, Mr. Amit. I was wondering, what gaps are we addressing with the solutions available on We Naturalists? What gaps are you filling in as We Naturalists?
That's a very good question, and I think very few people or among us will ever be able to figure out the gaps because the life is running as usual. All the NGOs, all the professionals in nature have been excelling so well and contribute to climate action. But if you really see on an overall basis, there is no such platform where we can bring all these nature professionals and people in environment or climate change or global warming or at conservation level of flora and fauna at one place where they can share solutions with each other. And because of that, a lot of time and energy is wasted in redoing certain solutions at their end. So if something is being worked out in Africa's, how they can explore and how they can inspire people in different parts of the world to use those solutions. So imagine the amount of time and money that will be, saved in not redoing those models or those solutions. In addition to that, if you would have really seen that in NGO world, there are very few digital solutions available right now where they can participate, they can improve upon their work, whether it is in the form of ERPs, whether in the form of membership management platforms, whether it is in the form of project management, whether it is measurability and accountability at the project level. There are a lot of these things that are being worked upon, but there are very few of such solutions available today in this part of the world. So that's the primary reason why we identified these gaps and thought that it's very important for us to address that, so that whatever our targets are for, whether it is 2030 targets or Paris Agreement targets in 2050, they can be achieved much better, much faster. And these people are getting more and more empowered to achieve their goals.
Mr. Amit, you are obviously a lover of the environment and nature and very passionate about making the environment a better place. So I'm curious, what are your thoughts and opinions in regards to the current state of the climate and the environment right now in the world? What are your thoughts and opinions?
So I think I am actually too new in this particular space to give my thoughts and opinions to that extent, but whatever my limited learning has been, whatever my learnings have been so far, I can really see there's a tremendous amount of action that is taking place all around the world to meet our climate change requirements. The only thing that we need is cohesive approach which can bring people together, and so that whatever efforts are being taken, they can be minimized, but our achievements are much more larger. So our idea is, whether it is in US, whether it's in Africa or in Asia, all of these people, all of us have to come together to ensure that our efforts are going in the right direction. Right? Based on our understanding and learning, and it's also the data which is being released, there are more than $150–200 billion being spent. So how we can channelize this money correctly, how we can bring all the solutions together using this particular money and really show ground level impact in the right way. So, that's exactly what I believe in. And I exactly want to execute entire effort in that particular direction to ensure we achieve those milestones.
That's interesting. Thank you so much, Mr. Amit. How can the digital transformation with We Naturalists improve the overall impact by each individual and organization?
Right. I think that's one of our focus areas, Nina, that we are introducing tools and solutions in such a way that each and every organization either can use We Naturalists to reduce their costs, reduce their efforts, yet meet the same or better milestones for themselves. they can use these tools for better communication with their people or members or participants in any manner in whichever direction that they are working on. For example, if you're running a membership-based organization, right, and you're running programs, how you can create your own community where the memberships or members can survive, and at the same time you can create a very interesting participation and project management structure around that, right? This can actually give a very different direction to your entire organization by bringing costs down, by making operational efficiencies, and at the same time improving probably your some of the earnings that you had from either members or selling of content or working towards creating much better ecosystem around your projects. On ground level, execution of projects can be much better and measurable in some sense. Your cost of maintaining data is going to be significantly lower if you use We Naturalists in the right form. There are people who have been using this particular platform for bringing contests to the masses, running competitions over here. Because the way it's been built is largely driving solutions to each and every activity that a nature organization does today, right? So what I'm explaining you right now is what We Naturalists can do and how it can be beneficial to each and every individual who's working in nature.
Earlier on, sorry? I feel like I cut you short. Okay, earlier on you mentioned that there's a lot of funds that have been channeled into the environment. You mentioned 150 to 200 million, and I'm wondering, I'm curious, do you think that the money that has been channeled into the environment, into nature generally, is being used properly, especially towards disaster management as individuals in the world? Is it being channeled, is it being used the right way?
I'm sure, and to be honest with you, no one to comment on whether it is being used in the right way or not, right? It's the respective organizations who are setting themselves targets of spending this particular money are the people who can answer this particular question well. What I can clearly see is that we may need more and more money to flow into this particular direction. And the second thing that I am reasonably sure is that we need a consolidated approach to make it happen. And with that particular approach, your activities on ground will show different results. Your milestones will be far more achievable, and your impact on ground will be far more visible to the world.
How can Kenya and Kenyans play the role in global climate change, and how can they use their voices to make the climate and the environment a better place? How can they put their stories at the forefront and be heard and be given a chance to make the world a better place?
Right. I think, Meena, on this particular one, I would like to say, and categorically, that everyone in the world, not only just Kenyans per se, can play a very critical role in conserving nature and make it habitable as long as possibly we can see. Kenya, otherwise, as such, the way I have seen Kenyan market, I have seen a significant amount of awareness in Kenyans and primarily East African communities about nature, about conservation of nature, and at the same time they have understood the requirement much better than any other part of the world, primarily because they have lived through and various organizations have governed themselves so well in that part of the world that the education, the awareness, the relatability towards nature has been worked upon very closely. Now, when it comes to awareness around nature, I find it very high in the East African market and primarily Kenya. And that's one of the primary reasons Kenya remains one of our larger markets in every balance, right? And I personally think with that awareness, and if that kind of resource management, if we can channelize all these things in the right way, Kenyans, every individual, whether it is youth, whether it is the organizations, whether it is people who are working extensively in this space, they can really move mountains out here. So I personally believe that all of us have a role to play, but Africans, because of the way it is structurally designed, they have a much larger role to play in nature conservation.
It is said that Africa is very rich in terms of the environment, trees and all that, and resources rather, natural resources. What is it that we can do better in terms of taking care of these resources, taking care of our trees? Do we need to plant more trees? Do we need to look out for how we are disposing of our garbage? What exactly is it we need to do? Trees, give us some hints, some tips, some advice as an environmentalist.
Tree planting to all these things are, it's very natural, lowest hanging fruits that come to our mind when it comes to conservation. But largely, I personally believe if Kenya is what I really believe it is in today's world and what the kind of role that it can play, the most simple thing is that we can set examples of impact on the ground level, realities to what our conservation efforts are yielding on the ground. And if we can create certain measurable case studies, we can go down deeper and figure out how we are managing our resources well. What kind of voices are being created? Because I'm in touch with so many youth voices in that part of the world, and I can see the kind of impact and inspiration that they can create for rest of the world. I think that work has to be heightened, that work has to be highlighted a little bit more to ensure that we reach the right corners all around the world. And that representation, that data, that the focus on digitization of their work, right? And that's where probably I think We Naturalists plays a very, very critical role in heightening those efforts which are happening on the ground. And I firmly believe it's not because I'm founder of We Naturalists, but I think we need to use something like We Naturalists to ensure that our voice and our work and our measurability of that particular work is taken to the world market.
As we look at, just so you said that we need to use We Naturalists to make it a better place. What exactly or how will We Naturalists contribute to the change?
Just with the examples that I had given, whether it is using We Naturalists for your work, for your project management, for finding out exciting opportunities that makes you more independent, more sustainable. Running certain projects over here where your ability to drive that project efficiently is more possible. You can execute a project at a lesser cost, right? Which saves you money, which saves the donors some money, and that money can be utilized much better. So I think if you lead by example and use certain tools that you use more efficiently, the overall ecosystem will take a significant change. And I think that's what I mean by why We Naturalists can play that particular role in creating better impact on the ground.
Thank you, Mr.
Does
Amit.
that answer your question?
Yes, you have. You have answered my question. We have, sorry, you have something to say? Something to add?
No, thank you.
Okay, we have the People of Nature Awards, right? And right. I was curious, would you tell us something about the People of Nature?
Sure. So the idea came about when we realized 2 years back that everyone is trying to celebrate and work towards, animals, tigers, elephants, rhinos, turtles. But it's important that we try and shift our focus, as We Naturalists has always focused on empowering, celebrating people of nature. And people of nature would be anyone who works in nature and has contributed towards the climate action in any positive manner. So that's broadly what our definition was, and we realized that it's important that we start celebrating and honoring people of nature at the global level. And that was the reason last year we introduced, on 1st of October 2021, we introduced People of Nature Awards. That coincided with the World People of Nature Day that again we introduced last year to celebrate people of nature and to ensure that these people are always celebrated because of their contribution to the natural world. And because of that, we started People of Nature Awards. And this is the second year of this. And most critically, which I'm extremely excited about, is we have, for the first time, started Lead Award in this season of People of Nature Awards, where each and every activity and the votes and the work that these people do, or the nominees do, contributes to their placement on the leaderboard. And then there is a constituted jury from all over the world, which looks into the work, their activities, their contribution to the natural world, and decides a winner. And with this as a structure, we have around 16 categories of awards, of which 13 are in the adult space, 3 are in the children and youth space, between 5 years to 15 years. And that's one area that we believe, which is children and youth, is the biggest contribution that We Naturalists is intending to make over a period of time. So We Naturalists over a period of time will ensure that youth and children are not ignored when we talk about climate action, and we reach as many people as possible to ensure that they have their voice. They are trying to protect our natural environment in as much as much vigor, as much scale, as much attention to the details as much as possible, to ensure that we achieve our desired results as soon as possible.
Is it open to the public? And if yes, the people who are out there in the public and they would want to participate and be involved in the People of Nature Awards, how can they get to you? What exactly is required for them to be part of the event?
Very simple, Nina. They just have to log into the platform. If they believe that one of the categories that they qualify for, they should just read terms and conditions and apply for it. It's as simple as that. There is no cost attached with it, and they can then simply share their nomination and their work with anyone else in the world. People will watch it, their friends and families, everyone is going to see it, and obviously they can vote. Their activities that they do on the platform as well will yield significant amount of benefit when it comes to their nominations and the points that they garner. So simply put, it's a very, very easy 2 or 3 step process for you to get nominated and then start getting voted for.
And what are the timelines for the event? When do we have this event coming up?
So this year we are conducting this event on 29th of September. 31st of August is the last when we will accept the nominations. So far we have hundreds of nominations which have already been received from all over the world. And we're really hopeful that people will find this particular approach and the way we are conducting it very unique. And I think there will be many ways of engaging, many ways of meeting different set of people and achievers, young achievers from different fields. So yeah, I think 31st August is the last when they can nominate themselves or their friends.
Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Amit. As we wind up, I'd like you to kindly let us know where we can get you on your social media, where we can get to We Naturalists, and also a word of advice to the public on how maybe that one thing that you would want them to do better in terms of conserving the environment.
Yeah. So as far as reaching out to me is concerned, I'm available on Twitter largely and LinkedIn. But as far as We Naturalists is concerned, We Naturalists is available across all platforms, and primarily you should follow us on We Naturalists itself, because that's some place where we have the most amount of quality, not just content, but people, but projects, which might excite you to do more for nature. And it is open for everyone. So anyone who wishes to contribute to nature, please feel free to get onto Be Naturalist and see what all you can contribute to. As far as a simple advice that I may have, or maybe urge that I may have for everyone, is try to figure out whatever best we can do for nature, for protecting our environment, in our backyards, to within our homes, to recycling, to reusing, reducing some of our consumption in any form, right, would help us conserve nature. So don't go for wildlife trekking or expeditions. You don't need to go do that to conserve nature. Most importantly, find out ways to conserve nature in your backyard, at your own houses. And that's the best thing that you can do. Obviously, there are multiple ways of engaging yourself with organizations who are professionally doing this work. But my urge is for everyone to contribute to nature in as much, in a holistic way, right? And that begins from our houses. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Amit. We've come to the end of this conversation. I am very grateful. Thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing with us your knowledge. Very, very knowledgeable man. We are very, very grateful. I'd like to say have a very, very beautiful day and all the best with the People of Nature Awards.
Thank you so much, Nina, and thank you, KUT.
Have an amazing day, Amit.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Take care.
Thank you so much for joining into that conversation with Mr. Amit Banka. He's shared quite a bit of knowledge. So get into your social media, get into your internet. Look out for We Naturalists. He said, plant trees, start from your backyard, start from the space where you are, dispose of garbage properly so that we can make our environment cleaner and definitely better. We'll be coming back with the second set of the launch. We'll see you after this short break. Welcome back once again. Thank you so much to you out there for tuning in and giving us this pleasure to be able to entertain and entertain you and talk about everything that is happening in our country. Yesterday, we had the final debate, the presidential debate that was held at the Catholic University of East Africa, where we had two presidential candidates show up. Raila and Wajakoya had given their apologies and said that they would not want to be involved in the debates. I'm not sure how you as an individual felt about it, the fact that Wajakoya showed up to the venue and did not, step into the auditorium for this particular debate. How did this debate make you feel in regards to who you are going to vote for, the choices you're going to make in the next 2 weeks or less as you get to vote for the president of your choice? Did Ruto and Mr. Mwaure convince you enough to give them your vote? This is a special thanks to all media houses for the first time, or rather this year, every time we get, come together to make the country a better place and put the entire country together. So a special thank you to all media houses in this country for making this happen. What did you think about the debates? send us your feedback, and also in regards to the conversation we just had with Mr. Amit Banka. Our social media handles are at KUTV Kenya on Facebook, KUTV_Kenya on Twitter, and at KUTV Kenya on Instagram. Let us see what the debate looked like.
Invite. Nice meeting you, Simriti. Thank you, Ken. My name is David Maura Waihiga. I am a father, I'm a husband, I'm a lawyer by profession, I'm an ordained minister of the gospel. I'm the party leader of Agano Party, and as it's obvious now, I'm one of the four persons who are running for presidency this year. Let me start by recognizing all of you who are present here, Wanjiku and every Kenyan who is listening. Let me also pass greetings of peace to my running mate, to my competitor who is not here, and to the others. I would also like to take the earliest opportunity to pass my condolences to the people who are involved in the Nithi Bridge accident. We have lost a lot of Kenyans as I stand here to talk about the future. But let me end with the few seconds remaining, and because I'm alone, I hope I will be extended a few seconds to say that I am here as an anti-corruption crusader. I am here as a friend of the people of Kenya and the people of the universe. I am here as a person, a man of peace. We are at a very defining moment in Kenya. For me, the elections of 9th August are very defining. 59 years after independence, we still have to discuss, we still have to find out what we need to do with this nation going into the future. Because the question begs answers, why is it that 59 years after independence, Kenyans cannot afford not even a single meal per day? Why is it that 59 years after independence, we have such high cost of living than we have had before? Why is it that 59 years after independence, we have such high level of unemployment? And why 59 years after independence are we so indebted than we've never done before? And yet, those we were born together with, those we obtained independence with us, a number of them, and many of them have gone on ahead. And right now, they are first worlds, they are even
known. Why, Mr. Waihiga, does a man of the cloth, a man of God, want to get deeper into politics here in Kenya and be the president of this nation?
You know, leadership is part of what, if I go spiritual, God created. And in my faith, the Christian faith, we say all leadership comes from God. And He gives men and women here on earth the determination, the wherewithal to choose who He may lead. But I'm not just a man of cloth. I'm a lawyer by profession and a senior lawyer, senior counsel by virtue of years, with that 9 years to my belt. Not only that, like I have said, I am a person who has lived and watched in this nation, read the history of this nation, read the histories of other nations, and I am here because also the Constitution allows me, I fit the bill to come and run for presidency. But I come again as a new person in this area. This is my second stab at the president, but I've not been there before. But I'm here because I believe the elections of 9th August require a new person, a new bloom, a clean person. We need to change if this nation will go forward. That's why I come in as a man of cloth as well.
Mr. Waihiga, the reasons you give tonight, basically every Kenyan would give them. What is unique in your proposition?
Why should that be my position? I am tired, like Kenyans are. I am disappointed by the leadership we've had so far. I am also one of those Kenyans who have sat back and watched at the leadership that again wants to come back. A lot of us out there and Kenyans are saying, why do we have to recycle them? I'll tell you what leadership is all about. and because I'm a man of the cloth as well, and the cloth reflects who I am. I'm a little disappointed and doubly disappointed that my competitor couldn't come in. If he would have come in, he would have come in a durag, because that represents who he is. This represents my inner me. But leadership, if you have occasion to look and we read books here, the scripture, the man, one of the people I follow much, is one who was known as King David. And it says, when he was the president, the prime minister of the nation of Israel, it's written of him that he shepherded that nation according to integrity of heart and skillfulness of his hands. Leadership is about taking care, providing, making a way. And that's why, as a man of cloth, as a lawyer, and for the first time we have a lawyer as a presidential candidate, it is so defining that a person like me, because if a man of cloth would follow the ways of the scripture and the ways of our constitution, if he would follow the ways that are right and accepted international standards, he would not steal from his people, we would not have the level of scandals we've had in this nation, which I'll talk in a moment. We will not have our development funds, public funds stashed abroad, and this is why we are here. Poor 59 years, but nations that we got independence with, and I can just mention two: Singapore, South Korea, smaller nations than ourselves, nations with people who are equally gifted like Kenyans are gifted. We are nowhere near catching up with them. I am here because I believe we've got what it takes as Kenyans. We can do it, and we have a reason after 9th to do it and move forward.
Mr. Wahiga, the church does play a crucial role in national development and in securing our nation in many ways and in bringing guidance to the people. But many would argue that in many ways the church has failed us. What are your thoughts on that?
I wouldn't agree with them. I wouldn't agree with them. To the contrary, my thinking is that the church has not been fully involved in governance, separate but yet a very important partner. Talking about the liberations we've had in this nation from 1963, the fight for independence, talking about the first liberation, the second, the constitution review, the church was very key. Religious organizations are important. Faith is an integral part of mankind, and every person, it doesn't matter who it is, believes in something, follows something, and refers to something when the time comes, when push comes, when pull comes to push. But you would have to be specific, because I know the church has been speaking out. We've had Bishop Sokulu, we had Muge, we have Joya still with us, gallant men of this nation. And I can say we are here because of that. Probably what you are referring to is you expect more. This time you have one of them, but also a professional in his own right.
The voices you have mentioned are voices of yesteryears. I'm yet to hear you mention the current voices speaking, because your voice has been silent on this. We haven't heard you condemn what's going on in the country. We haven't seen you come out loud. And specific example, when politicians infiltrate the church and stand at the podium and speak about politics, we have never heard you condemn this.
Well, you know, there are many ways to engage, and I've engaged in my area. Standing for me here is a journey of about 22 years. This is a starting that started from the year 2000. And this is not even my first time to express an interest in leading this nation. This is my 6th stab at an election. And in all that, it's been an expression of the fact that I have been unhappy. I've been unhappy. As a party leader, we have had occasion. We may not probably have been as loud, or if you wish, you may not have covered us. And I'm not referring to you particularly, Ken, but we have spoken out on matters. It's not the first time that I'm speaking against corruption. And you know, there is a greater way of expressing opposition, by your example, by who you were. As I stand here, I know nobody can accuse me of having been involved in any of the scandals. As I stand here, I'm a witness, I am an example of the fact that any Kenyan can run for presidency. As I stand here, I am here to break this sort of wall where we believed only certain person and peoples. The Catholic Church has been issuing statements, NCCK has done that, Evangelical Alliance, the Muslims have been speaking. Probably it's only that they haven't been covered as much.
You yourself say that this is your sixth stab at an election. You have been unsuccessful in the past, for example, when you ran for governor of Lamu in 2013. So what's different now? What makes you think you will win this race?
There is nothing in life like not giving up. And the trouble we can be in Kenya is if we give up as we go forward to the 9th. One of the persons I followed much is Abraham Lincoln. And if I remember my history right, it was during his 13th attempt, though before that he had won some legislative position, that he became the President of the United States. And when he did that, we know that he's the one who brought about the slavery emancipation, something to date that speaks to this world about the fact that all men and women are created equal. And that's why we can speak tonight as we are here. I am an example of a person who does not give up. I have not lost in every election, I can tell you. Like the last one of 2017, I would tell you that's an election where I believe I was rigged out. It's only that I couldn't get the facts, and I had done my bit. That was the election, if you remember, where one of my competitors said that people were voted through the computer. I was going to be the senator of Lamu County. But here I am. You must live to fight another day. I am here because there is no room for giving up. The trouble in Kenya, we are where we are because we've given up. Right now, as I speak to you, and I thank you for this opportunity, Media Council, there are Kenyans who have said, tutapiga kura tu yeyote, fatalistic attitude. But thank you for the opportunity to tell Kenyans that, no, there is still another one. We don't have to recycle. There's change this time.
Maybe because you've not gotten the opportunity, that's why you can stand tall and say you have not been involved in any corruption, perhaps if you had an opportunity. But away from that, as an advocate, would you advocate for the division, complete division between the state and religion?
First on your first question, it's not that I have not had an opportunity, I have not been appointed at the top. No, I have had occasions where I have led, but also in my private life. You see, it fights from the lowest unit as a lawyer. I can stand here and say, I have not been accused. I have not stolen clients' money. It's not just here. I've had these positions of responsibility. I've sat on the Council of the Law Society. I've sat in several corporate and non-government and religious boards. But so it's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle that I'm in. But coming to your question, would I advocate? I think it's important that state and region be separated. And by that, I think we need to define what that means. Because basically, it's saying that it's like every person in a state should be allowed to exercise their faith without the government imposing on them who it is, what faith they should follow. And that's where the whole principle about state and religion comes from. But also, religious organizations have a very important part to play in the nation. They teach about better ways of living, morals. They bring governments to book. They call out when things are not going right. I do not know of any religion that condones corruption, stealing from the poor, taking money from the sick. You know, I do not know of any religion that talks about fighting, hating your neighbor. I know every religion advocates for the golden rule. Love your neighbor, peace. And they are an important component. And in a Agano government, in a Maora Wahiga government, religious leaders will play a very pivotal role. To the extent I believe, in my government, they'll even sit in cabinet. In my government, when they perform civic duties, which they do, they should even be remunerated because they are helping the government. They are rendering a...
Those are some some of the remarks we've had from Mr. More, what he's going to do for the country, how he's going to bring change, and what exactly he'll be bringing to the table if and when he becomes the president of this country on the 9th of August this year. Tell me what you think. Do you think he sold himself? Amejuza, have you bought what it is that he has sold? Has he convinced you enough to vote for him and make him your president come August 9th, which is in like 2 weeks? I hope he has convinced you. If he has not, let us know why. Your opinions, share with us your opinions on our social media platforms at KUTV Kenya on Facebook, at KUTV_Kenya on Twitter, and at KUTV Kenya on Instagram. Speaking of some of your feedback, I have gotten some of your feedback here. Allow me to read some feedback to you. As I get my feedback, I would like you to wait. We will be having the second part of this debate from Honorable William Ruto, as he also told us what he would do for the country if and when he becomes the president of this country come 9th of August 2022. We will be bringing that to you, so stay tuned. But right before that, I have some feedback from Toto Mariam. I'm a #1 fan of Huruma Town Kids. Napenda vile tunaendelea. I'm also a #1 fan. It's good to see the kids do what they are doing. I will be coming back shortly with our conversation on the COP27 with our two guests, so stay tuned. I will be seeing you shortly.
The sporting world in general is a lucrative form of industry, and among the money-making games, football tops the charts. To no one's surprise, football is the major league sport in history. Almost every country participates in football to some level, and there are about 4 billion people who say they follow football to some level of degree. It is with no doubt that football eclipses all other sports in the world.
Tunaambiwa kwamba mwanadamu anafariki. Je, kufa kwake kuna kuaje? Anakufa vipi? Ni nani anayemuua, anayetoa roho? Na kitolewa roho, kwa sababu kiwiliwili kiko pale, hiyo roho huwa inaenda wapi? Au kunafanyika nini hasa? Kwa ni swali la msingi sana, na tutajaribu kiasi Mwenyezi Mungu atakavyotuwezesha tuweze kumjibu swali kama hili inshallah biidhnillah.
By so doing, it will greatly reduce the risks that come along with pregnancy, like anemia. So during conception, it is very, very, very key for our mothers to be evaluated health-wise, to be sure that even as they plan to conceive, then the journey is going to be safe.
Daktari, when I was going through the flu vaccination, I came across, live vaccines and dead vaccinations. So one is encouraged, another is not encouraged. Maybe you could tell us why the dead vaccines are encouraged as opposed to the live vaccines.
Driving and riding without incidences on the road is such an amazing experience. But do you know, while many road traffic crashes are avoidable, human behavior continues to be the leading cause. Speeding, lane indiscipline, drunk driving, distracted driving, failure to wear a helmet, and failure to use available pedestrian ways have been flagged by NTSA as the fatal 6 behaviors likely to lead to a fatal crash and serious injuries. As part of the Usalama Barabarani campaign, we request all road users to prevent these fatal 6 behaviors for their own safety and that of others. When driving, ensure your speed is within the stipulated limits. The road ahead is clear before overtaking. Stick to your lane. Keep left unless carefully overtaking. You're well rested if driving on long distances, and you never drink and drive. Usalama Barabarani starts with you. Fika Salama. This message is brought to you by the National Transport and Safety Authority and the European Union.
Welcome to Children's Corner. Welcome to
Children's Corner.
Children's
Corner.
Ukiwa na dukuduku la michezo, tunafungua sanduku la dukuduku kwa ufahamu zaidi. Kila danadana, mitimko, mifiatuko na harakati zote ugani, sisi ni wako mwandani. Kukurukakara zote nyanjani, haziwezi kuangaziwa zaidi ya micharazo michezoni. Mimi mwanaspoti wako matata Peter Pinches Mwaora, ndakuwa na jopo lenye maarifa sufufu, nikufahamishe na nikuburudishe wewe shabiki shakiki, kwa uhakiki na kindakindaki.
Thank you so much for joining us. I have a very interesting conversation lined up just for you. The UN is having the COP27, which is the 27th United Nations Climate Change Conference, which will be running on the 6th to the 18th of November. This particular conference, like I said earlier, is put out to address specifically how we as human beings are, how well prepared we normally are for disaster management. With me, I have Mr. Dennis Kimani, who is the founder and Secretary General of the Youth Green Foundation. I also have Mr. Javan Namema here with us, who is also a founder and a CEO, who's also the founder and the CEO of the Green Alliance Africa organization. Basically, each individual is here to tell us the role they play in making the environment a better place. So, karibuni sana. How are you feeling this morning?
Green.
You're feeling green? Yes. Mr. Dennis, tell us about this green morning.
Thank you very much, Nina.
And who Mr. Dennis is.
Okay. I'm always happy to be in KUTV. Pleasure, and so much thanks. My name is Dennis Kimani. As you have heard, I'm the founder and CEO of Youth Green Society. Yes.
Mr. Javan, good morning.
Good morning.
Karibu sana.
Thank you so
Who
much.
is Mr. Javan Namema?
Mr. Javan is an environmental climate activist, and he's the founder of Green Alliance Africa. And also he serves in various environmental organizations, platforms, national platforms. Yes.
Wow. Mr. Dennis.
Yes.
I'm sure you know about the COP27 that is coming up soon.
Absolutely.
Tell us your understanding of this particular conference.
Thank you again. We are coming from COP26. It was in Glasgow. This was it is just to empower the Paris Agreement that is about to how to mitigate and make people have the adaptation for climate change. At COP26, all countries and all world leaders, they met, but they didn't come with a solution on African countries. Therefore, there was a need for a COP27 that will be addressing African challenges and financing. That's why we are heading to COP27 this November.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
Mr. Javan, how can we increase awareness on environmental conservation?
Wow, that's a very good question and a hard question. One, I think we need to have more content creation on climate change, whereby we need to create a lot of awareness through social media, raising so many issues that are affecting our climate change. So we need to do a lot of social media content creation, whereby we can do documentaries, to empower communities and also talk about these things that are affecting the society. One of them being climate change, carbon dioxide reduction. We need to talk about water, forest covers, increasing forest covers. We need to, speak about issues of deforestation. So all these things can also, be raised through social media platforms. Number two, we can also have environmental rallies and marches, like the one which was started in Germany, Future for Fridays. Every Friday they just have a peaceful, peaceful walk, peaceful strike. Yeah, every Friday. It's a group of young students who started that, and the whole world adopted. We did one here in Nairobi some times back, and it was very nice. It was just like a house of environmentalists meeting, and raising these issues. So we can also have a lot of community empowerment programs, talking about environmental conservation, how to plant trees. We can also put it in curriculum activities in schools, raising awareness through, tertiary institutions, primary institutions, secondary institutions, putting it on syllabus so that it can be part and parcel of a way of life. Yeah, as we are raising a new generation of environmentalists.
Mr. Dennis, you'd like to add anything?
Yeah, that is good. We have the student strike for climate.
Yeah.
That's a good initiative because everyone is supposed to be involved. In the Paris Agreement, we were saying that it's nationally determined contributions. But now, as Youth Green Society, as we think is individual contribution, because like the simple things that we do, cutting a tree, drying a dam, these are things that will lead us to climate change. On that, I will also add on disaster management.
Yes.
Yesterday, we had about our leaders talking about how to mitigate the effects of climate. They're talking about dams. When shall they come up with these dams? You know that we are saying that Kerio Valley is good for cash crops, cassava and those, but we are not coming up with these dams. I want to tell you, Nina, that when we come up with a dam, we are mitigating floods and drought at the same time. Because you see, the time we are coming to collect this water, we'll be using the time of drought. So these people, they don't need to be dying because of anything. But you'll see that when we are coming to finance or on the adaptation fund for the climate change, we are coming to do things that are just killing or misery to our people. It's like when rains come, we wait for the people to die. That is the time we are coming with a lot of resources, solutions,
and how to solve things.
Yeah, that is wrong. We are supposed to come with what I call standing and operatory procedures.
Yeah.
If it is a dam, put that dam now. If it is starting about plants that are adaptable to climate change, let us come with innovations now. If it is waste management, we are having something we are calling the black fly. Yes. Let us come and help our farmers to be able to keep this fly that is decomposing organics, because we all know that waste management will, one way or the other, emit CO2 and the green gases into the environment, and will be ending up with a lot of climate change. Again, I want to talk about forest sinks. Deforestation is something that is killing our planet in two ways. One, forests are the catchment areas for water. Again, forests act as carbon sinks. So when we are deforesting our planet, we are putting carbon into the atmosphere, increasing the heat, and that's why we are seeing water rising and all drought and floods. So I'm just asking everyone, it is an individual contribution, not even a national contribution anymore. It is it is what I do with the environment, not what we do. Yeah.
Speaking of what we should do, what do you think should be the main conversation what are the main issues that you think should be discussed in the upcoming climate change conference with the UN?
COP27?
Yeah.
It is the indigenous families and communities in Africa. In the northern parts of Kenya, Ethiopia, South Africa, Somalia, and part of Tanzania. Those are the people who have been affected by climate change. Nina, this climate change is not things that us we do. Most of them is the developed countries that are coming because of industrialization. So the need for us to be empowered financially is the discussion of COP27. Because we talked about a lot of Western countries. We forgot that even Africa is ailing. So I think that COP27, let them give finance to the countries that have been affected more, and not the countries that are polluting the environment.
Oh yeah, yes, Mr. Javan. What do you think? What would you add in regards to some of the issues that should be addressed in the upcoming COP27?
As he has said, financing is a main issue, is a major issue when it comes to, dealing with climate and environmental issues. Most of the upcoming developing countries, they don't have finance. So we have to talk about financing because, we can't just be having these sessions after year after year after year. We pass legislations, we pass resolutions, and then
they are all theoretical.
Once people fly back to their countries, everything stops. So we have to talk about financing. How are we going to raise funds? How are these nations, the superpowers, going to help Africa raise funds? How are we going to raise funds within our own means in our own countries? We also expect them to talk about adaptations. It's a main issue. We need to talk about energy, green energy. We are involving into green energy. How are youth and women going to be involved in environmental conservation, in activism? Those are the things we want to see them talk. How are the governments passing legislations? Because it's one thing to go there, give very nice speeches. Last year we saw our sister Evelyn Wathuti, a former student here. She gave a very powerful speech, and she told them, we've always been talking, but we pass resolutions. Once we are out of this hall, everything stops. Again, we come next time, we raise new issues. You're not telling us about financing. How are we going to finance this kind of initiatives?
Wow.
For me, I'm calling that ad hoc jackism. We write a lot.
Slowly. You're calling it what?
Ad hoc jackism. We write a lot, we talk a lot, but we do less.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Do you think the governments around the world are embracing sustainable methods to waste management, especially in urban areas? Since you said the developed countries are the ones that, are polluting the world the most. So do you think the governments around the world are, having proper waste management?
Thank you. I will start by congratulating our government. I think, Kenya is the first in the green energy transition, so it's a very good thing. I will talk for Kenya because I'm not much versed with the other countries.
Yes.
Kenya, we have the geothermal. We have a lot of green and renewable energies that we are running. So I think some countries have come with policies. Last year, actually it was signed this year, the Sustainable Waste Management Bill that is going to take the waste management and collection from a linear to a circular. These are things that are approaches that are being done. So I think the government is doing a good thing, and kudos to them. But now again we go back to the personal. When you talk about circularity, it starts from where you are. It starts from home. So the government is not at your house. It is me and you and me in my house to start the circularity. This is all about how you sort waste, segregate waste, recycle that waste or reuse it. So it is up to everyone to be in this game and do the circularity.
It's everyone to do their homework.
Yeah.
Nice. Mr. Javan?
Yes.
What do you think? Is the government's doing what they're supposed to do?
I've been part of the team that has really been going through the country, especially the counties, and trying to talk to different environmental departments on waste management issues. And I can tell you for free, this is not just something I've read, I've seen. I can say totally no. Yes, because there is non-uniformity when it comes to waste management issues. First of all, let me talk about Kenya. Kenya, we have a lot of cartels here in Nairobi. Waste management is a big problem. The way you see CBD clean.
No, I tend to disagree. I went to the CBD, I think it was on Monday, and I was shocked. Moi Avenue is upside down. It's there was garbage everywhere, and for a minute I asked myself, at some point when NMS got into cleaning and taking over Nairobi, CBD used to be so clean during the first couple of days, but then I'm wondering what is happening now that there's, honestly, I'm sure if people who've walked around that lane of Chicken Inn, King's Collection, that entire, it's so dirty.
Yeah, that's why I said non-uniformity.
So dirty.
The reason why I'm saying it non-uniformity and dishonesty, it's because they only do the garbage collection within the CBD. But when you come to downtown,
it in the CBD.
When you come to downtown, actually, it's worse. It is worse. These leaders you're seeing here, who are talking about environmental conservation, they never go downtown. You know, so another thing, I think there is no legislation. Legislations haven't been put, you know, to control waste management, and that alone is a big issue. You know, you go to a country like Rwanda, my brother, yeah,
it is so
when you're found throwing any piece of paper, any just kind of that, you're arrested. Even a gum, you're arrested. It's a legislation. And you know, it's another thing to do legislation, to bring legislation, another thing to follow up on the legislation. So I also tend to think that there is strife between the government and the private sector.
Yeah.
There is no what we call the PPP, public-private partnerships, because at the end of the day, you find private waste management companies are doing well than the government, and so the government feels threatened. So, you know, instead of partnering, they fight the private sector. You understand? So the government wants, you know, to take over, and then it doesn't have, but then you find they don't have enough, you know, machinery to do solid waste management or e-waste or whatever.
Yeah.
You understand? So I think, to me, I can rate our country maybe at 50, because we're trying. We have the legislation, but then the enforcement is a big problem.
Implementation
What I think is, you're saying the right thing, but you see, the legislation are there. That is ad hoc justice. We have written, if you read I know you have read the Sustainable Waste Management.
Yes.
It is well written about the circularity, how even the CSR will be happening, how the net zero will be happening. But kwa ground, mambo ni different. Mambo ni different because you'll find the cartel. The cartel is that when you go to City Hall, you'll find that there are even some companies that cannot take their litter to Dandora. At the way bridge, they will be sent back. These are the kind, and tell me, they have been given the work to go and collect from a household. Where do you expect them to take that litter? They will come and dump it at anywhere so that they can go for the other litter. So what I'm saying is that waste is an opportunity. Please let the government come up with measures. Like now, I'm seeing countries like Portugal, they are turning their waste into energy. Why don't they turn Dandora into an energy farm?
I was actually just about to ask you, because when you go to Dandora, there's all those heaps and heaps and heaps of waste, and I've always been curious, like, is there anything that can be done to that waste? Because waste will always increase. We are constantly using things, we are constantly using material, we are creating waste every single time. So what is this that can be done to clear that place? Because kutaja eventually.
What you can do is stop transporting waste. You don't take waste from KUTV and dump it at the gate. So that is transportation.
So what am I, me who is here at KUTV and I have waste, what should I do with my waste material?
Segregate your waste, sort your waste, keep your waste clean. If it is organic, put it in one dustbin. If it is plastic, on a different. If it is water, on a different. That is totally well sorted waste. You'll never find paper that is wet. When you mix organics with paper, you're going to, even that paper will tear. Yes? So put your organics different, and then you use what you are calling the black soldier flies. Now, when you bring the black soldier flies...
There's people who are curious, what are black soldier flies?
Black soldier flies are just like they are calling them, they are black. But they are soldiers because they eat on the decomposition of organics. They speed up decomposition of compost manure to come up with useful manure that can be used for food security. It can be used in the farms. So these are the projects that the government should be coming in, or even our leaders. We are telling a lot of youth they don't have jobs, there are no jobs in Kenya, yet...
These are opportunities they can create.
Exactly. So I think it is willingness to to have solutions. Yeah.
Wow, that is interesting. Javan,
Yeah.
what are some of the ways you think we can tackle the issue of climate change around the world at the moment? Let's be honest, we are suffering. There's a different climate change every single time. Like what we saw in Europe. It was so hot, there was forests burning, it was crazy, it was chaotic. And the heat waves, and they've never been that high. It was the first time they were that high, and it is obvious it is because of climate change.
Yeah.
So what are some of the issues we can use, to tackle this climate change?
I think now that one depends on individual countries. Each country, they have to come with their own resolutions.
Let's talk about us.
Let's talk about Kenya. Here as an organization, I have an organization.
Yes.
Somebody else has an organization. And at the end of the day, we are doing the same thing. You understand? So you might find that the projects that I want to do and the project that he wants to do, they're very, very important when it comes to environmental conservation. But the financing. So the government needs to increase the access and financing on environmental projects. I'm sure you're aware we also have, youth groups, women groups that are also doing solid waste management, the recycling waste. You understand? But because of that financial hitch, they can't do much. You understand?
Yeah.
Then in Kenya, I think we have enough legislation. If you want legislation, we have. If you go to Kenya Forestry Service, we have legislation. You understand? We have laws, different laws. But the enforcement. I want to cite an example. One day I went in a county government, one of the county governments in Rift Valley, and I was helping them, doing various waste management projects. And when I arrived there, I went to the county NEMA department's office. And right outside NEMA, there was a heap.
Outside NEMA?
Heap. I'm telling you, heap.
Of trash.
Of trash. And I was like, director, you are the county director of NEMA. This is so embarrassing.
Setting a very good example.
So because when I arrived, we went and had a small meeting with him. Then we went to meet the CEC of Environment. So when I went to the county government, I found more than 20 askaris, county askaris, just on the gate. So I was like, this is wrong. Why? Because, you have county, in fact, they also have their own county laws. You understand? There is the national and the county laws.
Yes.
You understand? Why would you have 20 security guards in a governor's office?
What are they
and the Minister of Environment department doesn't have even one askari. Seems misplaced priorities. So we need also to bring our priorities, lively. We need to know what are our priorities when it comes to environmental conservation. You understand?
Yes.
So enforcement is one of the key issues Kenya needs to embrace. You understand? And then I think we need to have now heavy penalties.
Like Rwanda.
Yeah.
We go the Rwanda
you're
way.
found in forest doing logging, 10 years. You understand? But now the problem is the same legislators, the people who are passing the laws are the same cartels
who are endorsing the cutting of trees.
Like my brother, do you remember when they were, we were migrating from paper bags to carrier bags? Yes. You understand? So that time, there was a very, very big tussle in parliament. Why? Because most of those parliamentarians are the ones doing this business.
From Uganda.
Yes, here in Nairobi County, just talk about waste management. I'm telling you for free. I'm sorry to say this on a national platform, but many people's lives are threatened, especially those ones who are doing solid waste management out of their hearts. The cartels don't want that. They want to eat money, and solid waste management has money. So we need to, have heavy penalties and enforcement in this country. By doing so, I feel like we'll move a step forward.
Mr. Dennis?
It's a lost opportunity, as you are hearing from him. But I want to say about, I think environment is a devolved function in the national, the county. The county has environmental money, the national has money, but this is the same money that is being stolen.
Yes.
Me, myself, I have gone to 2 counties trying to get where the environmental money is, nowhere to be found. This is the kind of the money that is being stolen. The same in the Ministry of Environment. You won't find this money because this is the money that is being stolen. Do you know why? Because the same way my brother is saying about cartelism, that is what is ailing our country. No one wants to go to waste management because lori yako haitaingia Dandora. Ikiingia Dandora itatoka imeharibiwa. Because how are you coming to Dandora? How? I have tried to go to Dandora even for researches. You won't come out of that place. That's why you're finding a lot of litter in our streets because mtu alipeleka, you reach at the way bridge, you cannot go in, you just litter anywhere because you have to go back and collect.
Because where exactly are you supposed to take that trash?
Yeah, you see. So I think the same way my brother is saying, hefty penalties for these things, hefty penalties for not even sorting waste because now it's a law. We are going to circularity. If you're in your house, you don't sort waste. That waste company should not collect your waste. Like us in our startup, we are saying that we'll be having different days for collection. Monday we'll be collecting organics. I find that
that's such an interesting idea.
Yes. Mondays we come for organics. Tuesday we come for plastics. We find your waste is mixed up. You pay more for mixing that waste because we are going to employ someone to sort that waste.
But don't you think it's a little bit tricky in an estate kind of setup whereby kila mtu anaekanga trash yake at one particular place? So utajuaje ni house number C ama house number D ya wakuweka plastics kwa nini? Waliweka plastics Monday badala ya Tuesday.
We are using a borrowed system from California.
Okay.
What they do is that it is house by house. It is not that you put at the curbside. The way we do it here in Kenya, everyone will take that waste at a common place. They will come and transport it. Not that way. We deal with a household. You, Nina, and your house. How are you putting your waste?
Also, you start by house by house by house.
Exactly. Even if you are 50 in a flat, we'll come house by house. Put your waste at the door.
Wouldn't that take a little bit more time? I'm curious.
It's better to take a lot of time, but the way, you see, there's no need of us wasting time sorting or segregating trash. You know, what we have Kenya is not waste. It is trash.
True.
So what time will you take segregating trash than collecting useful waste? Yes.
So and then after you've already collected the plastics and the organic, what do you do next?
We have a pyros. We are working with a Portuguese. He told me to say hi to him. His name is Samuel Baril. We are working with him on pyrolysis. That we are going to be making plastic pellets that we can sell even as.
As to create thread.
Yes.
Okay.
Threads.
Yes.
So this one will be coming with, instead of making new bottles, we are removing the bottles from the universe. So we are coming with that pyrolysis where we make new plastic. Like now in our company, because we need like 3 segregated dustbins, we need a lot of resources. So this plastic that we are collecting, we melt them and make them into new things like a dustbin that we are giving to our customers.
Okay.
So we are killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Yeah.
Interesting. And we can say that you are trying to create employment and also create space for it, because that's a very interesting. As we wind up, Mr. Javan, what word of advice would you give to the people out there in regards to environment conservation?
Environment should be a way of life.
It is a way of life.
It is.
Yeah.
But sadly, most people don't take it as a way of life. Why am I saying so? Why would you eat banana and just throw trash on the road?
Let me answer you like a layman. I will eat my banana and say, si ni ndizi, si nikitupa su it's organic. Ita decompose.
Not on the road.
Where
Like
it
in
decompose
town.
to?
In town. That is now ignorance. Okay, it's right, but that is it's a good thing to think so.
I'm representing so many people.
At least you know it will decompose, but it's in a wrong place. That's a wrong place. So I think my advice to people, is to take environmental conservation issues seriously, because nature has a way that it can fight back. You understand? most of the diseases and the things that we are going through, it's because of our carelessness. So we need to really be careful on how we dispose wastes. Number two, we need to create a lot of social media awareness on environmental conservation. And then to the government of Kenya, my advice to them is to tell them to be serious with implementation and enforcement. You understand?
Yes.
And then maybe this is my personal view, I will advise, if I get a chance again, I will advise county governments. If the county can't do it, the waste management themselves, then they should pass legislations within their counties.
Allow people who can do it to actually do it.
Privatization of waste management. Yeah.
Thank you, Javan. Mr. Dennis?
You can come up with the question again.
We are winding up, so your remarks and a word of advice you can give to people on how we can do better in terms of conserving the environment.
I have three. The first is ignorance. That is me, like we are saying, throwing the banana anyhowly. The next is negligence. This is on the legislations, the government, and the companies, because even them are negligent on how they transport and do that.
Factories. The next is the net zero. All the companies are saying they are going to the net zero by 2030. For all of us who do not know what net zero is, what is net zero?
Net zero is that we want to have the carbon the deficit to be equal to what we can get. So therefore, even you're a polluter now.
Yeah.
Because you came here with a car. You have a car.
Yes.
So you're still polluting, even if you don't waste, you don't cut trees. You're still like a polluter. So I would just require that this legislation, let us fasten them and have the godliness. Again, my last appeal is that as we come up with our leaders, the only resource that our youth or for the future generation that we have, it is not the money, it is not the cars, it is not the government, it is the environment, nothing else. That is the only resource that we can have. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, one more thing.
Yes, please.
One more thing. And I think as I wind up, I would love to ask Kenyans. We are going into elections. I have read, me partly, also part of, I'm also into politics. But then I stick to my lane. Also, I have to be where my interests are served, and that is environmental. So Kenyans need to really go through these manifestos of our presidential candidates, and elect a good leader, and elect environmental conscious leaders. You understand? People who are going to help us, pass laws that are environmental friendly. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Where can we get you on social media?
Twitter, Youth Green Society. Facebook, Youth Green Society. Actually, everywhere is Youth Green Society. But we have a website, www.youthgreensociety. This website is where we buy, sell, and acquire customers for our waste management company.
Wow.
Yes.
Mr. Namema, social media?
Facebook, Green Alliance Africa. Instagram, Green Alliance Africa.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm really grateful. Thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing with us your knowledge. As you have heard, we've been given advice. Take care of your environment. As we cohabit, throw your waste the right and correct way. And as Javan has said, choose your leader wisely and let's understand their manifesto. And let's choose someone who is environmental sensitive. And that is why, as we come back after this short break, we will be listening to Honorable Ruto's manifesto and what he had to say on yesterday's presidential debate. So stay tuned. We will be coming back after this short break.
Bila shaka, mbiu ya mgambo ikilia, kuna jambo. Na sasa, katika KUTV Rise Today, makala ya TBT.
tunaongeza kuni, tunawasha moto. Tunaingia barabarani kuangalia hali ilivyo. Takwimu za korona na kupa habari zinazojiri na zinazokuhusu na kujuza na kukumbusha yaliyotendeka siku kama hii ndani ya historia. Kisha na kuletea wageni na wataalam, tudadavui, tufahamu na tuchukue nafasi yetu kama vijana katika uongozi, uchumi na masuala ya kisiasa nchini. Na joto likizidi, tunaingia uwanjani, tunachambua spoti ya Kenya. Ni kila Alhamisi saa 1 hadi saa 4 asubuhi, nami Vincent Maina almaarufu Ojwang mtoto wa Mariam, ndani ya KUTV, a new experience.
We get this in university campuses, we say comrade power. But I'm saying we get this even in elections. The one we're going to choose leaders, just make sure you choose the leaders wisely, not because of whatever they're giving you. There's some who bribe the youth for them to cause chaos in one or another. But just be wise. We are all wise, so just choose leaders who are going to make a difference in this country. And as the president said, innovation and creativity, we are too young.
Hello everyone, this is the new chapter of Let's Be Fit. I'll be host DiCaplo. I'm here to give you various workouts. I'll be having different trainers. We'll have Zumba classes, we'll have aerobics classes, we'll have box exercise, we'll have kata box, just name them. The show comes every Thursday from 6:30 a.m. to 7 a.m. Keep it locked. Make sure we keep fit. And that's it from me to you. Let's be fit.
Technology is infiltrating every sector of life, this by giving you convenience as well as cutting down on time wastage. Today we talk about Rebecca.
As we spoke to more people about the idea that we had, so this is basically word of mouth. We're speaking to people about what we're thinking of doing, not necessarily saying we're doing this, just asking like, what challenges do you have when you're going to a salon or looking for a salon?
The client, you sitting back at home, having the stylist coming to your home, sitting watching your TV, doing your work at home. I think it's more convenient, and you enjoy being at your comfortable home.
Thank you very much. William Ruto, a husband, to my dear wife Rachel, who is in this audience, a father, to my children who are also joining me this evening in this debate, the sitting Deputy President of Kenya, a presidential candidate in this election, and I have come. Our country is. We are a country that is faced with mounting challenges. We have a huge track record of what we have achieved, but there is tremendous opportunity out there for more to be achieved. I believe that this is a Mama Mboga moment. We have 5 million young people who are not working. We have 15 million Kenyans who today are blacklisted in CRB we have 10 million citizens who have no access to credit in the micro and small enterprise sector. And I believe I am the candidate with a plan to be able to get Kenya to the next level.
Do you believe that subsidies are the way to go and are the right approach at this moment to deal with this issue?
I believe that subsidies can alleviate the problem to an extent, especially when we find ourselves in the situation where we are. My position is that we find ourselves at this port because there are certain things we didn't do right. We had a Big Four plan because we foresaw this situation. We were here in 2017. We decided then that it is proper to formulate a plan that included matters food security. If you look at the 4 pillars of the Big Four plan, one of them was agriculture and food security and nutrition. Unfortunately, that plan fell apart. It was actually sabotaged. So we find ourselves in this space because, one, we didn't capitalize our agricultural sector. We actually removed the fertilizer subsidy program that existed, which we just reinstated, I think, 3 months ago. Why did we withdraw it in the first place? Because to deal with the cost of living, you just have to increase agricultural productivity. And to increase agricultural productivity, you need to do 3 things. Number 1, make sure farmers have access to inputs, fertilizer, seeds, pesticides. Make sure the farmers have the necessary capital to be able to do the farming. And 3, make sure they have access to markets that are not rigged. Unfortunately, we didn't do that, and that's why we find ourselves in the situation we're in. So that's why in our plan, as Kenya Kwanza, we have set out with clarity what we need to do. We have put in place a 30 billion revolving fund to make sure that farmers have access to inputs. We have added a 12 billion shilling expenditure on agricultural extension, because it's not just enough to have inputs. It's also important for farmers to use the latest information on how to get our farming right and increase the productivity of every farmer. And the statistics show, with access to fertilizer, with access to certified seed, with access to capital, a farmer who produces 5 bags can produce 15. So we can actually double, if not triple, our agricultural output. What that means is that the 2 million farmers who today are net importers of food themselves can actually produce surplus. And we can make sure that we have sufficient supply that ensures that the prices are reasonable for everybody. So the real solution to the cost of living, especially on matters food, because we all understand the biggest contributor to the high cost of living is the cost of food. The average expenditure of families is 52% of their income. In fact, poorer families spend between 60 and 65% of their income on food. So dealing with the cost of food significantly deals with the challenge of high cost of living.
Honorable Deputy President, if I may just interject, what you said today has also been said by you before. In the first term of your administration, you pledged the same, that you are going to deal with agriculture, you're going to support farmers, and that's when the first fertilizer subsidy was rolled in before it was embroiled in scandal. And you'd also promised the Galana Kulalu project. When you say today that the food security aspect of the Big Four agenda was sabotaged, what exactly do you mean? What failed in the Big Four agenda with regards to food security?
Precisely that. It was sabotaged.
By who and how?
Because you know as well as I do that we never got to implement that plan. Immediately we changed course and the whole Big Four plan was shelved. And we went on a tangent because of the handshake equation. We went to handshake, to BBI, and the rest is history. We didn't get the time to do what we had promised the people of Kenya to do. In fact, immediately thereafter, I tried, like has been tradition for me, to support my boss. And many times, I tried to push the Big Four plan to the extent that my boss, the president, asked me that he wanted to do things differently. And he requested that he wanted to assemble a different group of people to help him deliver on what he wanted to be the legacy of the fourth president. And unfortunately, the Big Four suffered a big blow because the whole of that program did not take place.
Galana Kulalu project, Honorable Deputy President, was launched during the first term. What happened? What went wrong? Why did it fail?
The Galana Kulalu project was conceived. In fact, what happened is the first 10,000, the pilot on the first 10,000 program took place. In fact, the first harvest of maize in that program came into being. And the recommendations from the trial on that project was we needed to build a dam because the water from the river was not sufficient to do the Galana Kulalu project. We needed to scale up now and do the dam so that the water that was available, because the soils research and the trials showed that the soils could actually support the production of maize and other cereals. Unfortunately, it didn't move from there because we didn't get the dam sorted. And you know that the whole, we had actually 57 dams that we would have wanted to do. Unfortunately, they didn't happen. They suffered.
So why didn't you do the dams, Honorable Deputy President? And the former ambassador of Israel to Kenya also said that they were facing frustration in supporting the Kenyan government on this. Why did you not do the dams? Why did you not go ahead with the implementation of the Galana Kulalu project?
The Galana Kulalu project, as I have told you, was part of a wider plan to make sure that we move our agricultural productivity from rain-fed to irrigation. And it was not just about Galana Kulalu, it was a series of other dams, including what we call the high Grand Fall dams that was supposed to feed into the lower part of the Tana. It was Lowat Dam in Turkana. It was Radat Dam in Baringo. There was a big plan around that was now supposed to roll into place with now our targeted, because our second term was targeted at agricultural productivity and food security. And we had now made it the deliverable for our second term. And as I have told you, our second term program ran into headwinds.
Honorable Ruto, just to continue to understand Galana Kulalu, because that was a big project that, had it have succeeded, might have solved quite a few of the issues we have with respect to food security. The Auditor General conducted a report and cited weaknesses in the contracting of it. First, that there was single sourcing, and that even the manner in which the contract itself was done, in terms of payments that were tied to the contractor, and so raising a number of issues around the manner in which the contract itself was put together, but then states that this was something that was going to fail anyway. And so what's your response to that with respect to the manner in which contracting is done in this country, particularly with Galana Kulalu, which is a big project under the first term of the Jubilee administration, of which you are a part?
I quite agree that issues were raised around the contract, and that is why the contract actually was shelved with a balance. It didn't go the full hog, because when those issues were identified, it led to the contract being stopped so that those issues could be addressed. But by the time it was getting there, already the trials had been done, the pivots had been set up, the first crop had been harvested, and we already had the template on what actually needed to be done, because the contract, the initial contract, was for the first 10,000 acres. The real contract was for the 1 million acres, which was really the target for food production. But as I have told you, that is not the only project we were looking at for food production. And let me also say that even without the implementation of the Galana Kulalu, supporting the farmers as they are today would still guarantee us a situation where we would not be in the situation we are in. Today, for the first time in Kenya, the price of unga has gone to 230 in some cases. It's never been that bad. I must say, as a former Minister for Agriculture, serving under President Kibaki, I am the minister who assembled the infrastructure that provide subsidy on fertilizer. And we saw an increase of 5 million bags of maize when we rolled that plan. When that plan was, when the fertilizer subsidy was cancelled 2 years ago, that is why we are where we are. We are not here because Galana failed. We are here because we didn't do what we needed to do with our farmers the way they are today. What Galana Kulalu was supposed to give us is actually that extra production that would even make it possible for Kenya to export. There is absolutely no reason why Kenya today is spending 12 billion shillings to import maize from Uganda or from Tanzania. Net exporters.
Wow. Wow, that is our honorable current deputy president, Honorable William Ruto, akituzia sera on how, or rather why we should vote him in as the president, the 5th president of our country, come 9th August 2022, which again I said is in less than 2 weeks. Has he convinced you? Do you feel like he is your option? Do you think like he is that correct person to choose come elections on the August 9th? Do you think that he has, or rather, do you think that all the candidates have touched up on some of the key issues, like we've been told by the environmentalists that were here, Javan and Dennis? Choose someone who is environment sensitive, someone who is economy sensitive, someone who is sensitive to all the problems that we have as a country, especially the problems that are not taken seriously but have very adverse effects to us as human beings. So as you choose your leader, as you elect your leader come 9th August, please make a wise decision. Elect someone who will make our country a better place in an all-rounded manner. Environment, economy, job opportunities. Be smart. All I can say is be smart as you make your decision. You know what is best for you. As a Kenyan and as an individual, today's conversation was practically all about the environment, how to be prepared for disaster management, what to do to better our environment, how to conserve our environment, how to dispose trash, how to plant trees, everything climate change and everything we can do to make our space better as we cohabit with everything else. So plant trees, dispose your waste properly, do everything right, do your part. As you've been told by Dennis, it starts with you and where exactly you are. We had Java Namema, we had Dennis, and we also had Amit Bankers. He told us about his company, We Naturalists. He shared with us also his thoughts on, how to conserve the environment. And he has a people of, what was it called? An award-giving ceremony for people of the environment, whereby he's appreciating everyone who does something for the environment. So if you think that you deserve an award for what you do for the environment, go to the We Naturalists website and you will see each and every single detail there. We have come to the end of the show for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Today evening I have an interesting event, goes by the name the Kenya Wedding Awards. I will be hosting this event. So please be sure to come join me this evening from 5 p.m. till late. Come, let's give awards to some amazing individuals. Let's celebrate these service providers that make these events very glorious and very beautiful. After seeing me today, you'll see me after seeing me now, you'll see me today evening, and you'll also see me tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. on Beyond Limits, still here at KUTV. So thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for sending in your feedback. I have been your amazing host, Nagikunda. The conversation should continue at KUTV Kenya on Facebook, KUTV_Kenya on Twitter, and at KUTV Kenya on Instagram. Thank you so much once again, sending you lots of love. Be peaceful, take care of your people. Adios.